Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the market update. Today is Wednesday, the 22nd of July, and we have an insane week because we have two major catalysts that we need to speak about first. Then we'll speak about the most important markets later and go into the charts. The first thing we need to speak about is market brief. This is what my AI gave me today, the setup. Two things pulling the market in opposite direction today. The Iran war flared back up and oil is coming, right? Risk off. That means risk off for the market. And the biggest earnings night of the quarter lands after the close. Alphabet, Tesla, IBM, report, SK Hynix. The whole technology space is the most important ones are gonna have earnings. So traders are very nervous and waiting, right? So the first one is the war. The war flared up again, the ceasefire broke, the US hit Iran again, and tanker got hit near Strait of Hormuz, and the new 10-day ceasefire proposal is on the table, but nothing is signed, okay? The strait is still the story. The US says oil is flowing, but it's not fully open. That's why oil is up at 84 yesterday or right now. And then we have the earnings catalyst, right? So that's very important for you to understand. Tonight, we have the first big one, which is Alphabet, Google. The markets read on whether the AI rally still has legs, so continues to go up. So today, Alphabet, Google is going to report earnings. If there's a lot of investment in CapEx, a lot of investment in cloud AI infrastructure, then that's very, very good for the AI trade, for all of the AI trades we have on our portfolio. And in general for tech, right? We have Tesla. Tesla is kind of the weakest link here. Tesla will report at 5:30 p.m. IBM has dropped 4 of its last 5 reports, so watch that. Intel later the week, right? This is where the tech tone of the rest of the month gets tested or set. Then we have the bull thesis. So what is the bull thesis? What is the bear thesis, right? The bull thesis is earnings seasons are strong. Nearly 88% of S&P names beating so far. If Google and Tesla deliver, the AI trade reignites. NAS100 pushes up, and money rates back into risk, right? Into Bitcoin, NASDAQ, and so on. War stays contained, oil cools, and the fear premium bleeds out, right? So that depends a lot on now. If the earnings are good, but Strait of Hormuz escalates, then Strait of Hormuz has priority. So the war has priority after earnings, right? Now the bear thesis, and that's exactly what we're saying. War escalates, Hormuz tightens, oil spikes past 90. That's inflation fuel and markets headwind. At a Google or Tesla miss, and the whole AI rally gets questioned. Gold near 4,080 and BTC soft in between 62 and 63 already tell you money is hedging, not chasing, right? So now the my AI basically, what my AI thinks, what I think happens, right? Choppy headline-driven day into the close, then the real move comes on earnings tonight. War keeps a floor under oil and gold, right? So we have a certain floor under oil and gold because of the war. For my book, okay, semi-short is two-sided tonight, so very risky. A strong Google AI read can squeeze semis higher, bad for the short because I'm in the short, and massive problems there because but I already reduced my risks, so all good. NAS100 is a coin flip into the print. C's for volatility, not conviction. This isn't the day to be a hero either direction before the close, okay? So we're gonna stay out more or less. Only position I have open right now is in gold, sell. The rest I keep, and I will explain you why. What analysts say. Street calls it the week that tests the AI rally. Sentiment describes a fragile, strong. Sentiments describe as fragile. Strong beats needed to justify current levels. On oil, desks stay bid while Hormuz is unresolved, right? So they're still long gold, oil as long as it doesn't resolve and there's no sign for the 10-day peace deal. Closing line, the market's holding its breath. Oil is climbing. Gold is near record heights. And tonight, 3 giant reports. Day likes this, reward patience, let the noise clear, then trade the reaction. Okay, so we don't want to do anything here. Let's go into here quick update on the marketera.com. I always love to cite these one and go over them. We have oil, and of course you can see the latest oil squill has seen oil go from extremely oversold to overbought. So you can see oil is coming up heavily again. We'll speak about that in a second. Then technical setup, gold is trapped between a long-term rising trend line and the downtrend that has kept price since early March. The resulting wedge is becoming increasingly tight, and decisive break above resistance could trigger a powerful squeeze, right? So if we can break the resistance towards the upside, we are long again, right? I'm still trading the last short in that sense, but we'll also speak about that in a second, okay? Then physical demand remains strong, but speculative positions has yet follow. That is for SHFE, open interest, okay, on oil and price. That's good. Silver bouncing. Silver's bouncing, okay, so we need to take a look at silver together. That's pretty good. Maybe we can get some entries long term. And then, do we have anything other interesting? SOX drawdowns. Yeah, many people are on drawdowns. Okay, perfect. That's easy. So let's go into the markets with that being said. Besides that, no other very important news this week. Really focus on war and therefore, of course, on the earnings. So if you check Dixie, where we always start with, Dixie is pretty elevated. We are in the selling area, but it seems like we are in a pretty strong trend, which started to correct over here, but you can see we wicked up. We had a lot of sell absorption, so it seems like we want to see Dixie higher, which is not so good for the market. That's mainly because of the war, right? Since the war started again in that sense, or like the peace deal broke and so on, and there's new attacks, Dixie has been trending pretty much up. You can see the same thing in oil. Oil today even stronger, bouncing. We are currently in oil sitting at, I have percentage in, let me change that. Let me delete this. This is gold basically, but before I delete it, I want to show you something. So this is basically oil. You can see here with the wicks, or basically with the candles, and you can see the line graph, or basically the blue line. This is gold, right? You can see oil is ticking up heavily, and gold is also coming up a little bit more. That's pretty interesting to see. So we need to see how that continues to behave. But let me delete this quickly. So now we can see, okay, we are at 88 for oil. So we have been going up since yesterday. A key level that I'm looking at is the 50% correction level bearish, which is basically at 92. So we stay above, below 100, right? So if we get into the 100 region again, very bad for the market. So we need to be very careful here. What I think is we're going to go somewhere over here and then start correcting again, hopefully with the if the war resolves with the peace agreement 10 days, right? That would give the market a big breather. So my prediction is more so bounce off the 92, 93. Therefore, 10 days peace deal, which will then fuel a SPY. That's not a trade that I took so far, just because right now I don't know, and I'm not going to do anything until we don't have the earnings and everything. But structurally, price action wise, looks pretty good for a sell in my opinion, but I'm not taking it yet, of course. So SPY is keeping up pretty strong. Yesterday was a pretty strong risk on event, so a lot of money flew into AI stocks, into tech stocks, into every market. Basically, everything went up yesterday, because it seems like we have a positive anticipation for the earnings. Okay, now if you look at NAS basically came into our sell area, bounced off the value high. That's pretty good. There could have been a sell here, but again, I'm staying flat. Sometimes the best trade is the trade that you don't take, just because we don't know how it's going to react today. If we have good earnings, then NAS is going to pick up again and go up. If we have bad earnings, then we're just going to continue to drop down, right? The thing in NAS is that we are in a bearish sequence, so we are more leaned to bearish. But again, that depends a lot, and all of that can be changed regarding the earnings today. If you check on Google, you can of course see we have earnings today. So after market close, earnings is going to come in, okay? So NAS, again, for me, more bearish. We are reacting at the value high over here, bearish. I was trying to trade this bullish structure. We unfortunately got stopped out because of a couple of points, and then it went up, but it is what it is. Didn't take a re-entry just because it was already too high. So NAS, again, if Google prints good earnings and sentiment is positive, also with Tesla, and doesn't drag it down too much because Tesla doesn't look so good, then NAS will continue to go up. If it's not a beat, right, if it's below that or exactly at the expectation, then most likely we're just gonna fade out here and be more bearish. Sorry guys, I'm a bit sick. So let's go into gold. Gold, I'm currently in a sell. Pretty difficult setup, but that's the only position I'm gonna take into the week, because if Google prints well, Nasdaq is going to go up, Bitcoin is going to go up, and therefore if the war continues as it is right now, it will be a little bit difficult for gold to come down. But I think if the peace deal gets signed, there could be a reverse situation here where normally gold would go up, but I think gold is going to go down because we're going to have positive prints, right? If we have positive prints in earnings, then money goes into risk on, okay? And then gold bleeds. So that's why I'm more sell gold right now in a swing trade, even though I'm currently heavily in drawdown. I mean, I of course mind my risk, but still we are pretty high here. So I'm not going to take anything here, but I'm more leaning to sells. Also here we are in a massive bearish build up, okay? Let's speak about Bitcoin. Bitcoin broke out, which is really nice. Recently, finally left its structure, which we have been accumulating for weeks over here, right? So finally we're starting to break out, and we are more bullish, which again, the market anticipates more a up. You can see that in NAS2, NAS has been going up pretty well. But again, here we are reacting in the bearish setup, and I'm actually on my asset management or in the money that we that I manage, we are selling right now. Okay, so we are on a sell here intraday. But again, I'm not taking anything personally right now, too difficult. Anyways, that happened during the night automatically. That's for what you have automations, right? But yeah, so going back to Bitcoin, again, if we have good prints on Google, then Bitcoin will rip higher. If of course the Strait of Hormuz escalates, then again this becomes priority again. So you need to understand it in that way. Right now people are focused on two things, right? On the earnings. Earnings will dictate for the next days and next month how it goes. But then the major catalyst is the war. If we get the 10-day peace deal, then market will rip, right? Bitcoin will rip, Nasdaq will rip, most likely gold will come down. But if, let's say, earnings is good, but the war escalates even more and the 10 days peace deal is not signed, that's very negative. Therefore, the market will start to correct lower again. So it's very difficult right now to say where we're heading. Technical analysis wise, it looks more like good earnings and no escalation. That's what the market is saying. So more bullish than bearish, right? But we'll need to see for that. Let's speak about current positions intraday. Can we do something today right now? In my opinion, a little bit difficult, right? So this is the trade that I was looking at for NAS. Again, the automation took it, the system, the software, the bot, or the algo, whatever you want to call it. I didn't take it, but that would have been my setup and it would have been gone pretty well. I'm currently just selling gold, right? Which is in a strong uptrend so far. And BTC, we are seeing a little bit of a correction right now. So there could be maybe an intraday trade that we can take. We have an active bearish sequence, as you can see over here. So this one over here, right, is active bearish structure. But again, we could trade that intraday wise, but then we need to be careful beyond today, just because we want to be very careful with the earnings. Again, if the earnings come out good, it's going to be a catalyst for Bitcoin to rip higher. So we need to be a little bit aware of that, right? And that would have been a re-entry over here. So I'm just going to mark it out and see if I get an entry over here, then I might most likely sell it. And the setup would be as following for BTC. And then if earnings are good, then I'm going to look more for longs again, right? But that could be an intraday setup. And then for NAS again, let's see if it offers us another entry. But so far, it doesn't look like it. So far, it looks pretty... why is it not showing my trades? Okay, whatever. Trading view acting up again. Hello, trading view. Okay, I don't know what's wrong. But yeah, at the end of the day, that's what I'm looking at. So I'm going to stay flat on NAS. I'm still in my short in gold. I'm going to keep it open. And it depends a lot on today. Bitcoin also, rather intraday short, maybe a little bit of correction into the prints today. Besides that, on the stock market, you saw yesterday big ups. If I go here and I check all of the AI stocks trades, you can see they've been up. NBIS yesterday did 18%, right? SanDisk 14%. You can see what else do we have that printed well? Core Wave printed well, of course, because of Bitcoin going up. Coinbase is printing well. CRCL is printing well, right? So whole stock portfolio is doing pretty good in the last 2 days. You see here, Bloom Energy went up 14%. So pretty clean, right? But let's see how it goes, because again, it depends a lot on the prints of the earnings today. Besides that, I don't see anything else that is interesting to buy or sell. Finally, it came up again. Maybe we can get a re-entry over here, which would be very dangerous. But most likely, I'm just going to stay flat. Just looking more for the sell here on Bitcoin, which is a little bit riskier, but it definitely is valid. And then gold, again, as I just said, we're just going to stay in this swing position. It's going to be a make or break. Either the prints are good, and then therefore gold is going to come down, which most likely I think. And then most likely we need to see what Strait of Hormuz does, right? Because again, if the peace deal gets signed, then gold will go up most likely, or go down, because of this inverse correlation right now in between. The war is blocking gold from going higher, even though it should be going higher. Let's see if this is unwinded now and finally gold reacts to what it should react. War, go up, no war, go down. So risk on, risk off again. But it didn't seem to do that in the past. Now it's kind of switching, because you can see how we went up with the Strait of Hormuz now being in war again. Or Iran and US and the Strait of Hormuz being closed again, or like restricted. We have seen a good leg up, right? Which is the usual reaction gold should have made anyways over the last couple of times, right? And weeks and months. Now, I said, let's speak about silver. Let's check what silver is doing. Where's silver? So silver here on a weekly is reacting at its bullish correction level. If we go into smaller time frames, there is actually some bullishness, very small. I mean, nothing big yet, no break of the last structure. So I'm not really interested in doing anything so far. I want to see more bullishness. But we are in the finals of the fade out, I think, and we are starting to fade out in bearish momentum. So let's see. Looks like we can flip soon here, but too early to take any entries. Okay. But with that being said, guys, that's what I'm focused on. And be very aware of today's prints in the setup when it comes to the earnings. That will impact a lot. And then, of course, keep in mind the headlines when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, you need to understand this macro and micro system behind trading and investing, right? That will give us the bias if we are trading long, if we are trading short, and it doesn't matter what your setup say. If the Google prints well and Strait of Hormuz, at the end of the day resolves and they signed the 10 days peace deal, there's no reason to be short, even though every market is now more saying short than long, right? So need to understand that. With that being said, guys, make sure to follow my trading Instagram account. I will keep you updated even tonight with the prints and what it means for the market. And comment anything you want to know. I'm always very keen on answering any comments. See you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.